Hey everybody, welcome to episode 7 of the Kill 'Em All series, and I have a bit of an announcement to make. If any of you were expecting any remorse from me whatsoever throughout the course of this video, you're getting no remorse. The beginning of No Remorse is a sequence of hammered on power chords going from the E to the F sharp. So we're in the key of F sharp minor. And here's how it goes. And that's it for that one. So basically all that's happening here is we're going from the E power chord, which is the flatted 7th, to the F sharp power chord. But what we're doing is we're hammering on to that F sharp. So we're going from E to F sharp like that. Now the way I like to do it is I like to have my pointer finger here on the E, and quickly I hop my pointer finger up to the E string so I can get to the F sharp, and then my pinky and or ring finger can come in to finish the job, right? So just like this, here's the hammer. Or really, really slowly. Okay? And really all that's happening here is it's going from the flat 7 to the root, back to the flat 7 to the root, to the 3 chord, which is an A, and then to the 4 chord, which is a B. And this repeats through the entire solo in the beginning and comes back even again to reiterate itself. And the weird thing is that this riff doesn't come back at all throughout the rest of the song. I don't know. You tell me. So this riff acts as both the transition point between the intro and the verse, and as the verse riff itself. So let's check out what's happening during this riff. So we start off with 2 open palm mutes on the E string, and then we're going to do a hammer on from the 5th to the 7th fret of the A string. And then you're going to repeat that. So you're going to go bum bum 5 7 5 7 5 7. You do it 3 times, and then you go bum bum C to the flat 6 chord of the key. All right, so that goes like this. Now I would use my pointer and my ring finger to do that hammer on. Okay, and then the second half, which goes every other time, is the same exact riff, except we're doing a chromatic chord ascension from A, B flat to B. And this sort of highlights the blues scale a little bit, makes it a little bluesier. So here's the whole riff together. This next section acts sort of as the pre-chorus to the song and is preceded by the "War without end," that whole thing, and we go like this. It's a pretty simple riff, so we're not going to spend too much time on it. So it starts with a bend on the 3rd fret of the E string to a palm muted open E, and then everything else is going to be 5th and 5th on the A and the D string, right? And then you go back and forth, back to the bend, back and forth, bend, chord, 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 bend, chord, chord, chord. Now let's just take a quick look at what's going on harmonically. So we're in the key of E minor, and we're bending the minor 3rd of the E minor scale, right? That's the G. And we're going to the root, and then we're hitting the flat 7th and the minor 3rd with this little perfect 4th chord here. Right? Minor 3rd. Now just a little bit of food for thought here. This chord right here, this perfect fourth, which is kind of like a broken or an inverted power chord, is a D and a G, which is the flat 7th and the minor 3rd. If you combine that with the E string and play it all together, it actually makes an E minor 7th chord. So keep that in mind.
No remorse, no revenge, we don't care what it meant.
The chorus riff of No Remorse, I don't know, seemed to have been in the wrong decade, because this seems like something that I would hear in 2006, right? By one of those shitty post-hardcore bands, right? Like Avenged Sevenfold or some crap like that. At least I have that ending there. So let's take a look at what's going on here. So, you know, just like with the verse riff, we're doing 2 open palm mutes on the E string. So that's a continuous theme going on here. So we're going open palm mute to the 10th fret of the A, to the 9th fret of the A, 7th, 5th, and then with a hammer on to reiterate what we were doing before. Okay, so we're going. This goes one more time, and then we hit this. C, C, B. Okay, so we have this little, once again, that inverted power chord type of thing. The perfect fourth version of the power chord. C, C, B. Sliding from C to B, which is the flat 6 chord to the 5 chord within the key of E minor. Now let's take a look harmonically what's happening here. Always like to do the music theory. So in between the E's, we're hitting the flatted 3rd G, 2nd F sharp, root E, flat 7 D, flat 7 to 1. And it repeats that 3 times and then does those other chords, which I already explained to you. So you know what? I'm not going to explain it again. So after the second chorus, we come to this transition thingy, which is, it's really just a nonsense, muted cacophony of bullshit. So let me show you what that is and what that means, right? So basically, how I like to play this, and there might be multiple ways to play this, but this is how I do it. I'm going to take my palm muting hand, and I'm actually going to situate it further up than I usually would. So I'm not even getting a note out of it. I'm just getting a floppy-doppy little ding-dong right there. And I'm also going to be muting with my left hand as well. So we get this extra muted sound. All triplet rhythms. Ready? Alright, and that's really all there is to it, right? Just kind of give it a chug-a-lug-a-dug-dug. And always count triplet, 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 triplet. Now here's what I would consider to be the bridge riff. And yeah, it's kind of very triumphant sounding actually. It makes you really want to go and slay some monsters at some troubled village about 20 miles that way. So here we go. So we're starting off with 2 open E's palm muted. And then we're doing this. Palm muted 2nd, 3rd to 2nd fret on the same string. F sharp, G, F sharp. So we're going 1, 2 minor 3rd to the 2. Back to the open. Alright, now in this particular case, I'm going to say not to go crazy with the downstrokes like we usually do, because this part goes by so quickly. You know, the downstrokes might not be advantageous to our forward progress, okay? So we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to go like this. Down, up, down, up, down, up, up, down. So that those accents can land properly in the moments that need the most power. Alright? So down, up, down, up, down, up, up, down. Dun, 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 dun. And once you speed it up, it becomes a lot easier. Alright, so instead of going to that E power chord like I was doing, we're going to change it every single time. but that little part in the beginning stays the same throughout. So we're going E, D, C, D, E, D, C. Alright, so this is kind of like a sandwich, just like the intro was a sandwich, right? You know how the intro riff went just the riff plus a solo, and then just the riff again? Well, this is the same exact thing that's happening. Here we have the riff that I just explained, and then the riff plus a solo, and then the riff again. So they really like using these sandwich kind of things during their thing. I don't know exactly what they were thinking about. I don't know if they were eating Subway or they were eating a bunch of crap. Who knows what kind of sandwiches these guys were eating. They were probably eating some weird shit out there, man. Cliff Burton was probably eating bass he caught, you know, wild right in the creek outside the venue or something like that. He seemed like that kind of guy. Alright, so after that whole bridge situation is over, right, and Cliff Burton's finished eating his freshly caught bass from the creek, we're going into this little proggy spazzy section. It's very spastic, very proggy. Reminds me of somebody who, you know, goes out into the middle of the dance floor and just is like, alright, so here's what it is. You'll know exactly what I mean. Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit. So there's actually two parts that happen here. It's actually one of the few guitar harmonies that occur on Kill 'Em All, which is kind of weird because Metallica is known for that. But I guess, you know, earlier in their career they might not have been as savvy to that type of thing. But here's what we're looking at. So we're playing sort of in a, we're still in the key of E minor with this one, at least with this part. And we're starting on the 7th fret of the G, which is the note D. Okay, so we're starting E minor scale on the D, and we're going D, C, B, C, B, A, B, A, G, F sharp, G, A. So those are the notes. So we're just descending down and then coming back up an E minor scale. Okay? Now, finger-wise, you want to use your pinky on the 7th fret, your middle on the 5th, your pointer on the 4th. Alright, through the whole thing. Now, picking-wise, you don't want any hammer-ons or pull-offs whatsoever. You want to pick, 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 pick. You want to make it sound as spastic as possible. Right? Like you're drunk at a Turkish wedding. Now, the harmony that comes in is a 5th above the note that we start on with the rhythm part. So basically what's happening is we're going to the note A, which is on the 10th fret of the B, and we're going like this. It's really the same type of pattern except adjusted to the G and the B string. Alright, but the thing that changes here, because we're doing all perfect fifths, is this C sharp is going to occur within that section, right? Turning it into a Dorian type of thing, an E Dorian. So, it goes like this. And if you wanted to play it together, that's what it would sound like, which is one guitar. But that's stupid. So let's hear what it sounds like with both guitars playing. See? Didn't that sound better? And let's not forget those last two little chords before we get back into the verse. So after we're done playing this spastic section, right? So we're hitting a D for 3 counts, and then an A. D at the 5th fret of the A string, A at the 5th fret of the E string. Just like that, both power chords, and we transition actually very cleanly back into the other riff. There's a lot of tempo changes in this song. Okay, so let's get into the outro section. The outro is kind of its own mini song. There's a riff, and there's a verse. that's what we'll call this. We'll call this the outro riff, and then the outro verse, or outro main riff, outro verse. That's perfect. So let's take a look at the outro main riff that happens right after Lars's long, you know, fast snare drum fill coming out of the last chorus. So it goes like this. Alright, so let's unpack that. So all we're doing is we're hitting an A power chord. So 2nd fret on the D and the A, D and the G. Sorry about that. Just like this. And then you're going to continue doing digga 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 digga. Alright, so the rhythm is 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. And then on the next downbeat, you're going to hit this perfect 4th D, 7th fret of the D and the G, like this. Same rhythm. Next downbeat is going to be B on the 4th fret, and then 5th for the C, and then full power chords for the next part. Just like that, B to C to B. Alright, so let's, just like usual, harmonically, let's take a look what's happening. We're on our 1 chord now. There's a complete key change happening in the outro. So it's A, which is 1, D, which is 4, B, which is 2, C, which is your flat 3rd, and then 2, 3, 2, and then back again. Okay, so let's get into what we would call the outro verse. Now this is kind of like a sort of punky section almost, because the drum beat's moving real fast and the chords are kind of you know, moving around all over the place. So we have A, A, C, A, D, C, A, C, A, B, C, B. Okay? So taking a look at that, the A is the 1 chord, the C is the flat 3rd, the D is the 4th, and the B is the 2nd, just like before. It's just in a different order, right? So we have, now the articulation here is like this. We're doing a straight chord, and then in between the C, we're doing a little A mute in there. So we're going free, free, mute, C, A. Alright, so it's free, free, moot. This whole song is moot. We're going free, free, mute, free, free, mute, free, free, mute, free, free, mute. Okay, so that's how it goes. Free, free, mute, free, free, mute, free, free, mute, free, 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 right? Free, 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 mute, free, 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 and then it repeats again. Okay, so we finally have arrived to the outro of the outro. The real outro to No Remorse. Alright, so basically all that's happening is once we come back, we do 2 of those verses. We're doing the main riff again like this. But at the last time, no remorse. So we're just hitting a C, a B, and then going right to E. So we're actually changing the key for the ending chord. So that's interesting. Coming back to the original key. And then everyone's going kind of nuts, right? Lars is doing some cool shit. And then he hits the hi-hat 2 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at what's happening there. So just like the bridge section where we have that muted E twice and then the 2, 3, 2, we're doing that like this. But we're not going back to the E, we're going right to the D, waiting for 4 counts, and then we're going mute, mute, 2, 3, 2, mute. So. So before we end off this video, let's take a quick moment to talk about the tempo changes that occur within No Remorse. Now, this song is I'd say set the frameworks for some of Metallica's future more creative works. It definitely set the stage for that. So let's take a look at what's happening here. So the intro riff, let's kind of have the feel of that, right? So the intro riff. So this tempo is very, you know, pedestrian, you know, right? It's really hard, you know, it's kind of hitting the pavement each time you hit the downbeat. And then the next part goes like this. So we're going from so basically double the tempo, but still slightly different, you know what I mean? It's not exactly doubled, and it's a totally different feel. And then the pre-chorus, so coming out of the verse into the pre-chorus, we're hitting a back to the hard, right, to the pavement, but with a push beat. So so we're kind of back to that sort of thing. We're almost in like a, you know, Scooby-Doo kind of mood here, right? We're trying to go through the you know, get through the swamp to get away from the swamp thing. Another interesting thing to note about the ending of the pre-chorus is this. At the very end, because of the drum fills, the guitars actually slow down that much. That's not even an exaggeration. Yeah, like guitars actually slow down, like it's ridiculous. And when you actually try to play along to it, the timing completely changes because of the way the drum fill transitions into the chorus section. And then coming out of the chorus section, we have this like triplet kind of feel, right? Which is completely different than anything we've heard as well. So far we have intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge. That's 5 tempo changes already in one song. Alright? Now there's also the spastic part. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is just a really strict, like a really strict kind of 4 count, you know? And with that spastic kind of rhythm and just like a very scalar and whatnot, it's completely different than anything that happens in the song. And then it transitions 1, 2, 3, 4 with a completely different tempo in that measure. So you have a completely different tempo in that final measure coming out of the bridge back into the verse riff. So that's, you know, we're really piling on even more tempo changes, more sophistication, and more band interplay. That's the most important part, is that these guys acted as a band, as a unit, a cohesive, cooperative unit. And that's important. And then let's not forget about the, you know, the drum fill coming out of the last chorus. You know, tons of just like 16th notes really fast, right? And then going into this 16th note power rhythm at the end. Right? Which is kind of like a faster version of Hit the Lights almost, right? Going into that like kind of polka beat sort of thrash section at the end. So you got to give them credit for being able to accomplish something like this, so sophisticated, so early on in their career. Remember, this is their first studio album that they've ever recorded. Metallica was not even on the map, really, you know, before this came out. So, pretty cool.